What's good, gamers? Battle941 here, and in today's video I wanted to talk about my time with the Marathon Server Slam, what worked, what I didn't like, what my overall opinions and thoughts are going into the actual release day. But before we get too deep into the video, if y'all could click like and hit subscribe as well, that'd be really cool. I'd really appreciate your viewership and your continued support, so thank you very much. So would my cat. Obviously. Okay, so the too long didn't watch for the video is that I thoroughly enjoyed my time with the Server Slam. Marathon is a very deep game, deceptively so. I went from not really thinking it was going to stick within the first couple of hours to playing up until the minute they closed the Server Slam. There's so much here that I didn't even get to experience that I couldn't even begin to contemplate how I would go about experiencing it because I didn't know it was there. And damn it, man, that's really fucking cool, right? Like, for a very specific example of that, Rook not being able to do contracts is kinda meaningless, I originally thought. If the goal of making the real runner shells be the only ones capable of completing things is to tie some level of risk to making progression, when the sponsored loadouts give you only slightly worse shit and have zero cost anyway, then I think that goal ultimately failed. But Rook ends up getting a lot of really good passive upgrades through time investment in each faction, so like eventually that power discrepancy between a free sponsored loadout and what Rook has going in is a lot different. Like, this is what I mean by depth. I straight up thought something was useless or a weird nothing aspect, but there's clearly a point that I discovered after putting in the time to go through the menus to check through the items to figure out what each thing does, right? That's really fucking cool. People seem perfectly split about the aesthetic. Either you really like it or you really hate it. For me, personally, I think it's neat. Not really my preferred cup of tea, but it's unique and there's a clear vision behind it being followed. I will always go to bat for picking a direction and sticking to it over half committing to multiple things. Please don't let the inevitable purchasable cosmetics dilute the art style like you're making Fortnite. Stay within scope, please, Bungie. Please. Please stay on track. There's talk about the time to kill being low, and for what it's worth, I really think that's just an early game issue. If you have a green shield and are fighting other people with green or gray, the fight's decided by who notices who first. Once you get to the point where people have blue and higher, it slows down to a much healthier point, in my opinion anyway. Character balance seems relatively okay as well. Nobody really stood out as a pain point. I ran into mostly Void. Assassin is a worse name, I do not care, and put most of my playtime on that shell as well, but that was mainly for surviving against the UESC and avoiding fights while being solo, so not necessarily that character being overtuned, just easy to escape if you end up in a bad situation against the UESC. Speaking of, the UESC don't fuck around, man. Holy shit, they're terrifying. Man, there's a lot of times, fighting them is just not a good idea, and there's a lot of them, and they're really tanky, and they will shit on you, and they'll flank you, and like the stealth ones will mimic other players, like very fucking cool. The majority of my time was spent in a squad on the first day, then the rest of my time was all solos. The solo experience is completely different to the squad one, and twos is pure ass. If you're solo, there's no communication delay on when you make a decision to when you execute it, because like the way the brain and communicating is saying out loud and convincing other person to be on the same page with you, whatever. I'm overcomplicating a concept for no fucking reason. But you're so weak compared to threes that you can't do half the shit that you want to anyway. In threes, the group dynamic is enough to compensate for the lack of appreciating the atmosphere, if that makes sense. Oh, I just dropped something important. Like, while I was playing solo, I was able to just stop and appreciate the ambiance and atmosphere of the world that Bungie's art and audio teams created while listening for danger. In threes, that was not the focus, so some stuff was lost, or maybe was replaced with us shooting the shit while playing instead. It's a much different experience, if that makes sense. Speaking of shameless plug time, I've been streaming on YouTube lately. 2 streams so far as of recording, and I really appreciate it if anybody who sees this video would come check it out if y'all could. As of right now, there isn't a set schedule. I just wanted to see if my machine could do it and what games would work as stream content. I'm planning on playing more Resident Evil Requiem at the very least, probably some Marathon once it comes out, and if there's ever new Destiny content, some of that too. Anyways, back to the Server Slam. The traditional Bungie first-person combat magic was in full effect. When fights would break out, the gunplay was fantastic, all the feedback was great and reactive, hefty weapons had weight behind them, while pistols and SMGs were all quick and snappy. Snipers felt a little weird at first, but I blame that more on them being kinda rare, so I didn't have time to figure them out very much. The shotgun was hella fun though. Oh, and the volley rifle's ease of use for how effective it was in most ranges was really funny. There's never going to be a Bungie game where a burst weapon isn't at least above average. I'm trying to think what else really stood out to me that is just another reiteration of the first few hours being rough and the latter ones being much better. Oh, yeah, menu nav and icons. Not enough information is conveyed from the implants and core icons, dude. There's hella depth. All the implants and cores are all impactful, but if I go into a match with a free sponsored kit and I somehow win a fight against a much better kitted player and I'm looting their corpse, I have to take so much time to read what their shit does in order to decide if it's worth spending valuable inventory slots on, keeping for later, or equipping them. This goes for weapon attachments as well, at least the universal ones. Some are really impactful and knowing what they do is really important. Unfortunately, looting takes a while. That's an inherent aspect of the genre, so that's fine on its own, but compounded with the lack of information gleaned from the actual looting mechanic, it sucks. I'm hoping they shift to some kind of change in the icons like Destiny perks for at-a-glance information, because as it is, it's really bad, and there isn't anything to learn to make it better like most everything else that's an issue in the early hours of playing Marathon. Like, there's no skill curve to looting. It's just read the shit. And I'm a controller player, so this is probably just a get good at the fucking game kind of thing, but going around each individual slot with the controller is very slow. I tried speeding it up in ways that I thought I might be able to. It's still slow as hell, and it's really hard to gather information at a glance. Biggest pain point, honest to God, is menu nav. The UI is whatever, you eventually get used to that, but just the menus, the actual loot menu and all that, just not okay. When you're out of a match, and you're going through your vault, setting up a build, that is fine, because I have all the time in the world. But if there's any urgency, it's just not a good idea. And maybe that's just, hey, once you, like, grab everything, then run off to a corner and check your loot there or whatever, but I don't know. A lot of these things are really impactful that, like, could help you get out of a situation. You just don't know what they do, so I don't know. Something to keep an eye on, I guess. I think that's everything. Overall, I had a fucking blast, like I said at the beginning of the video. Early game was rough, and I was questioning if this was going to be something I'd be able to say I enjoyed, but by the last day of the slam, I was playing until the minute they closed up, and I'm counting the hours till I can play the full game, man. Which is either in a couple of hours or it already happened, because I needed to get this video out a lot faster than I expected. I thought the game was coming out on Friday. It's not, it's coming out on Thursday. Hell yeah. Bungie did good, and Marathon has the fucking sauce, dude. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I cannot wait. More, please. More, please, Bungie. But that's gonna do it for me today. I just wanted to do a little short video talking about my initial thoughts on the Server Slam before the game itself actually launched, so that when it eventually is the worst game in the world, people can look back and go, how did we get here? And I can, you know, be wrong. I need to get off Twitter, dude. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts on anything I talked about in those comments down below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'll see you on stream. Have a wonderful day.